or I can bring you in cold. That's my line.
Hello, it is me, Ryan from Studios, and I'm back with another video, and today is a special mock video, and this is my LEGO Star Wars Razorcrest mock from the new hit series, The Mandalorian, that is on Disney+. And I have had my mock done for about a week or two now, and I'm just so happy to have this in such a amazing form. And obviously, now that the LEGO stuff's coming out, I am going to be purchasing it whenever I get a chance, and I will be comparing the two and probably combining them to make the ultimate it's not minifigure scale, but it's relatively nice size that I like. So this, of course, we have a little bit of the Mandalorian figures. This is my custom IG-11 that I did last week. I don't know if anybody got a hint, but that was supposed to be kind of, a lead up to the Mandalorian ship, the Razorcrest, and then we also have my custom Baby Yoda, which I guess is very simple. I just had the Lego statue piece. I sculpted ears, and then I painted it green. I made like a little classic smiley face because I couldn't do that much detail into a figure. And then I wrapped his body around with electrical tape and painted that. So that's the Baby Yoda. And then we have the Mandalorian minifigure here, the official one, and Cara Dune. And I gave her a custom weapon to make it accurate to what you see in the show. And then we have Moff Gideon and his suit that we see in the end of the show with his Darksaber. So that's what we have in terms of the minifigures. We're just gonna slide them out of the way, and this is the Razorcrest. So it's very heavy picking it up. It's about 3-4 pounds. The side turbines are made up of these noodle pieces, about 50 or so of them, and there's just a ton of them. They're a very expensive part. I didn't realize how expensive they were until I went to order them, because obviously I didn't have that many just laying around. But they're very strong. I could probably move it by holding one of these, so they're very strong. Obviously I can pick it up, but yeah, so they're about half the size of the ship, like length wise. We also have landing gear here, which I had to remake. The landing gear I had first was, it was okay, but then the second I added these, I didn't realize how heavy these were going to be. It just collapsed, so I had to come up with a different solution, and I had, instead of having it partially on the bottom of the ship, I had to make it like built into the ship, the bottom of the ship. So that's what I have in terms of like a solution for it. If we look at these, this is pretty much identical and symmetrical, except for like a little greebling in the back. But we have kind of the circle design, and now this is not 100% straight. Obviously it's going on a curve. That's because the way the Technic was working when I had to attach it to the sides, because there's like this huge Technic structure, and it was pretty insane, but it took me a little while to figure out, and I got it. We also have it tiled off here, and then there's the little fin. I kind of based it off of the X-Wing, but not 100% of the way, and I think it looks really good the way that looks. Now, if we look at the front here, you can see that I use some snot techniques to have that little sliver, because obviously a brick would be too thick, and I think that looks really good how that turned out. And then we have some grates and like these detailing pieces in the front to kind of just give it a bit more detailing. Now some of these pieces are kind of old. I don't really know why there's marks on them, but we have the lasers here, and now they're a bit too low the way I want them, but they're fine. They look fine. And then also I forgot to mention the front landing gear. That's very straightforward. It's pretty strong. You could kind of see, if I could show it in a little bit, you can kind of see the bottom of the landing gear and how it's made up, and it's very strong, so obviously I could tip it without having any problems with it. This kind of moved in a little bit, that's fine though. And I also have some slopes on the sides as well, just to give it the angle, because it's a very weird angle. It's kind of like a can, maybe like some sort of can, like a soda can or something. So it's a very weird shape. Oh, this kind of incaved a little bit. That's because I put a lot of pressure on it. But also with the design, so I think, I don't know really what color I should have used. White would have worked, yellow would have worked, but I decided to use like a super bright orange, and I think it looks really good. Obviously, I couldn't brick build that like so. So I just have the jumper plates, and I think that looks very good. So I have some detailing on the sides, just just to make it look very flawless. And I also have it continued. Now, one thing that I did run into as a problem that I later fixed was that this door coming down wouldn't come down because it got caught against this. So I had to move this. It was such a pain in the butt, and it was for something stupid too. So luckily now it's fixed, but that was a big pain in the butt. There was also an interior, which I'll show a bit later, but the hatch does drop down, and I do think it's a little too steep. But the thing is, I couldn't fit make it longer, because then I'll have to make the ship taller, and I didn't have enough. It just wouldn't work if I made the ship taller, and even if it was taller, it would still not be long enough. Now, if we look in the back, you could see how I did that. Obviously, I didn't order one extra. I thought I had enough. Actually, no, I ordered a bit too many, so I decided to make it a little extra longer. So I had to make it like that, but it's fine because it's just the back, and you won't really notice it. But this is what the back looks like. Very simple in terms of building. I had to somehow make this a circle, and I think it just worked really well. Now we have some slopes and plates. It's like a combination of many different materials, or not materials, it's all the same material, but like bricks and plates and different things to make it the back look very nice. And now one thing with the back door is that I wouldn't be able to pull it out just without it. So what I did is I made this little hatch that you could fold like that, and the bridge would go down. And there's nothing really could do with this. You could just pull it off and have it look like that, but I just made it because it was always hard to pull it down without taking the top off and pulling it out. So that's what that looks like, and also it doesn't look too bad in the back, and I think it looks fine. We have some grills in the back, and then we also have the angled pieces just to make it look like flawless. It's kind of blended in a little bit. Obviously not flawless, but just make it look blend in a little bit more, and you can kind of see the interior a little bit more. I guess there's multiple lights. I have the window open, I have my light, and then I have my room light, so it's too much light to be going around. But the back, or the other side, is a bit more smooth, I guess. You could kind of see how I use these kind of slope pieces, and I think that looks really good. Also, I have some more plates and stuff. It's not 100% over here. It's not the best I could do if I had more pieces, but I didn't really feel like ordering a bunch of these pieces because I knew I wouldn't really need them for anything once I'm done. This turbine is pretty much the same thing, other than that one little thing right here. But now let's see the top of it. So this is what the top looks like. There's lots of details all around it. Just a bunch of little greebling things. I tried adding a bit newer pieces like that, and the ones with the hole and the dark gray color. And I think I did a really good job on it. Obviously, nothing is 100% accurate ever, but I did it to the best of my ability. And then over here, we just needed, I needed this to be a bit taller so that the function kind of would work in terms of getting the minifigure, making sense of the minifigure going down and going in there. Obviously, also in this, I don't have 3 seats, I just have one because it wouldn't work. And I never really had a good cockpit piece that would actually, fit perfectly here. I'm sure there's one. I was just looking throughout the parts list of everything, and I just couldn't find anything. So I just went with what, just this is the cockpit, but these are window panels, but it's so clear you could see through it perfectly. But there's a seat for the Mandalorian, and which is unfortunate because his head peeks out like maybe a stud above this area, but it's really fine. I couldn't make this any lower than I could without this entire build working as the way I want it, but we have these kind of panels, and then we have the clips to make it look very I guess smooth. So I'm just going to take the top off. Just one last look at the top. This was a pretty difficult to fill in this little gap there because obviously I couldn't fit one of these pieces in its entirety there because it wouldn't really fit and there would be no room to connect it. But let's just put the top back on. So this is how you take the top off. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me, but I believe you open these up a little bit and you kind of pull. Yep, that's right. So this top part comes off. There's like this piece, I don't know, it was using General Grievous' Starfighter, and then you kind of flip these panel things off. Obviously, when it's fully, the roof's on there, it would be like that. But now we're gonna look inside the interior. So this is the interior. This is like the back area. I use some random pieces, but the interior is tiled for the most part. I would consider it tiled. There's just in light bluish gray. There's a table with some seats for Cara and the Mandalorian when they're arm wrestling. I have like a little thing in the back that would hold a carbon freezing thing, but right now the Han Solo one that I have is in my Cloud City. And then I have the weapons rack. Unfortunately, there's no doors for it just because that, it just wouldn't work, and it would be out too far. It'd be like three studs out, and it just wouldn't work. But also, I have the little toilet. We have the stairs, and back there you could kind of see that little indent and that little thing that going in. That's supposed to be Baby Yoda's little crib area, and I thought that would be very cute to have. I believe he can't fit in it. I don't know. It's too kind of... Let me see if I can take this off. I probably can't. Yeah, I can't. Sorry about that, guys. But anyways, you just put this back on, and it is connected by a few studs, and and then you push this down as well, so it's, it works perfectly. And I think this is probably one of my favorite Mocs, or at least most recent Mocs that I've done so far. I'm just super extremely proud of this. This is my second version of the one. I was gonna post it, and then I realized it wasn't really that good, and it wasn't really that accurate. These turbine things, instead of being 8x8 studs, it was like 4x4 studs, and it was like maybe it was a lot smaller to begin with. It was maybe about this long, and it just didn't look very good. I'm happy I didn't post a video of it or something. I do think I have a picture of it, so I'll put that right here. But that's kind of what I have going. So for scale wise, I'm just going to show a couple things. So obviously this is a minifigure compared to the Razorcrest, and then we have Anakin's Jedi Starfighter to compare it. So that's one little thing. And let me see something else. I have the Weasley car. It's very big, pretty big. What else? We have the Hulk. So that's a little comparison. This is the Hulkbuster. At least the modified one, so it's a bit taller than most, but that's kind of what I have going on. So thank you all for watching, and remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.